Well, glory be and mercy me, we've done it yet again. Here we are, our daily walk around the graveyard. I just came back from a big 3-hour hike out into nature with some friends. Gotta tell you, man, if you aren't getting a hike out into the natural world, you gotta go. You gotta go. Go sit by a creek for a little while. Go let the natural world speak to you. Go remember that you are part of the natural world, and the natural world is part of you, right? We're not meant to be bound to these cities all the time. We should get out there. And you know who thinks and cares about the natural world? The IPCC. This is an international panel for climate change that comes out of the UN. They just released their new report. You know what they're saying? We have all the technology, we have all the capability, we have the know-how, we know what to do, we have the plans. In fact, here's a thousands and thousands of page document that's full of the plans that we could do for fighting climate change. Why isn't it happening? Oh, because our political class sucks an enormous amount. Our political class has been bought by a capitalist death cult that, in the face of this enormous problem that they themselves are generating, is saying, how do we resolve this problem without destroying the very people who are creating the problem? That the IPCC Commission is essentially saying, what we are lacking in at this moment is what they call political will. That our politicians are capitulated. They have given up on the idea of saving the species because they are far more concerned with saving the capitalist death cult. I am more or less of the opinion that the best way to stop polluting is to stop polluting. That we have it in our heads as a species, as a people rather, that oh, we just need to transition to another green economy, right? This is more greenwashing done by the salesmen of the apocalypse who are more interested in selling us products for problems they create than they are in actually solving the problems, because they understand that the solving of the problem means removing them from power completely. That maybe the people who have been running disinformation campaigns on us for the last 20, 30 years shouldn't also be the ones who write the legislation for us moving forward. Because, and I've been saying this for quite some time, they're psychopaths. We should probably instead focus on no longer polluting, right? This has some very serious consequences for us. Serious consequence number one, we can no longer bomb and destroy defenseless countries. I know that we love to bomb and destroy defenseless countries and then steal their resources from them over decades and decades of democracy spreading and all of this. But turns out that one of the major causes of carbon emissions is war. Turns out we're actually going to have to stop doing war so much. Dang, what a draw. What a drawback, right? The weapons manufacturers, the military-industrial complex, really going to be put out on that one. Because these solutions that are being put forward to us, right? Electric vehicles, we keep getting sold on this idea. Carbon capture, we keep getting sold on these ideas. None of these are actually going to be more powerful or more effective than the simple act of no longer polluting. And of course, our politicians, the frauds and psychopaths that they actually are, have been trying to sell us on this idea that it's up to the individual consumer to individualize their individualism, to individualize the individual. This absolute junk idea that even when you observe it for 30 seconds falls apart. Why? Because there's a billionaire class that's producing more carbon emissions than all the rest of the society combined. That these guys, when they go out on their yachts and their private jets and shooting rockets into space and all of these kinds of things, emit more carbon than all of the rest of us. And we simply seem incapable of saying, hey, maybe stop that. Maybe literally stop polluting. Like, we keep talking about incentivization. We keep talking about all of this kind of how to finesse and finagle and cater to the whims of this psychopathic class of narcissistic losers, when we should be saying to them, okay, children, it's time to put your toys away, and it's time to join the rest of society. And if you don't like it, here's a prison cell for you. This idea that we're going to fine these guys or we're going to incentivize them or any of this kind of stuff, well, you know what would incentivize them more than anything? A prison cell. And the idea that we're not looking at these psychopathic polluters as they are destroying the species so they can joyride around the ocean, spewing shit into it and acidifying everything. The idea that we're not imprisoning them for this as they continue to do it is staggering and astounding and a betrayal of the human species. People like Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland are complete losers. They do not care about resolving this issue. They care that they look like to you that they are fighting this issue. They don't care at all. They're not interested. What they are interested in is taking their paycheck from the billionaire class. They're interested in joining the billionaire class. They're interested in going to the parties. They're interested in going to the pedophile sex islands. They're interested in being in the in crowd and going to brunch. They're not interested in resolving this issue. And how do I know? Because they never have. They've never confronted it. They've never looked at it. And anytime they're asked about it, they literally say to you out loud, yes, oh yes, there's things like breathable air and clean water and all this, but then there's also money, guys. You got to think about money, right? Which is exactly what they're talking about when they're talking about the economy, right? They're talking about the wealth of the billionaire class. They don't give a fuck about you. They've never given a fuck about you. The idea that these liberals care about anyone other than themselves is a joke. If you are stupid and gullible enough to continue going along with these liberals, like 30% of the populace is, then you're consigning the species to a hellish apocalypse, right? You genuinely believe that you can negotiate with the sun. Meanwhile, the very people who we have put into positions, who have spent their lives researching and formulating plans against this idea, that's the climate change scientists at the UN, are saying, if we continue on this path, it will be catastrophic. And so on the one side, you have facts, evidence, supported by research, supported by people who have spent their whole lives doing it, whose only benefit to ringing this alarm bell is to attempt to save the species. And on the other side of the equation, you have narcissistic psychopaths who do not care about anyone other than themselves, doing everything they can to maintain the prestige and wealth of other narcissistic psychopaths. And we, in the populace, are just gonna do what we're told until we burn to death. In the town of Lytton, the town burnt down so fast, they weren't able to get the fire trucks out of the fire hall. Anyone who is pretending like there is a technological solution to this is absolutely fooling themselves. Your air conditioners will explode from the heat. You will turn on your taps to get cool water, and the water will come out boiled. You will burn to death in your cities as the air around you ignites, because the sun does not give a fuck about your negotiations. And when that occurs, you'll be able to say, well, at least those conservatives didn't get into office. This is the shameful reality of what it is to be in Canada today. A full 30% of the populace is rooting for the destruction of the species. That's this bleak evil that exists in the world called the Conservative Party. And then you have another group of people, 30%, who have gullibly pushed their chips in with people who are actively lying to them about actually confronting this issue. So a full 60% of our electorate is literally saying, yeah, let's just die, right? Let's just die. Under these circumstances, the only thing that's left for people with a brain in their head is to revolt and rebel completely. Surround the halls of power. If you are a student, organize strikes, organize walkouts, stop participating. There's nothing here for you. There's nothing here for you. Do you understand that the highest level people in the society, the UN panel who has researched this, is saying to you directly, to your face, there is nothing here for you. Stop investing your time in the idea that there is a future here, because there is not. That the political class is guaranteeing you that there is no future here. And what are you doing? Going to school and taking these meaningless classes to do something completely pointless. Revolt completely. Overthrow the system of capital. Incarcerate these losers for their many crimes against society, and I include people like Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland in this, and then actually stop polluting. And then you know what'll happen? The earth, which was a garden before we even got here, that was created this beautiful place for us to exist in, for us to live in, that we are the problem generating it, that when we stop polluting, this beautiful planet will heal itself. We don't need to transition to something. We don't need to do something. We don't need to create something. We don't even need to be particularly thoughtful. All we need to do is stop and watch the earth heal itself. All right, guys, this is the end of this one. Like, share, subscribe. The leftists are being censored and chased out of the conversation. I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, we're not getting any support. High-level people are getting attacked and assaulted. The capitalist death cult does not want you to know that its plan is to destroy you. That's its plan. That it's actively gaslighting and deceiving you. It's not interested in solving this problem. The UN thinks so too. It's time for us to fight back. And you can't do that if you just let the fascists and the liberals at the table. Always remember, guys, you are a quantum being walking around in quantum energy temporarily. The billionaire class is spending hundreds of billions of dollars in the vain hope that you won't realize it, and you'll just stay the good little commodity they need you to be. Rebel, revolt, repent. Good luck. We're gonna need it.